Hello to all our business owners, and welcome to today's webinar, Navigating California's Compliance Landscape. I'm Heather, your compliance specialist at EarnHCM. I'm thrilled to have you join us to learn more about some of California's workforce compliance topics, central to navigating the often complex world of labor laws. As a Golden State business owner, staying compliant brings both efficiency and peace of mind. I'm genuinely excited for you to dive into some important topics crucial for every business operating in California. California's labor laws are renowned for their complexity and constant evolution. Staying on top of these changes isn't just about avoiding hefty penalties. It's about fostering a fair, productive, and legally sound workplace, which ultimately impacts your bottom line and employee morale. Today, we'll cover the most important topics and ongoing compliance considerations for California businesses, focusing on what you need to know for 2025 and looking ahead to 2026. Our goal is to equip you with actionable insights to navigate this intricate landscape with confidence. Let's get started. In this section, we will cover some important basics about payroll compliance, as well as some key California labor law updates. First up, let's tackle payroll compliance, an area where California has the most complex system in the U.S. A critical aspect of payroll is federal tax withholdings. Every employee paycheck includes federal tax withholdings. Federal withholding tax is a system where an employer deducts a portion of the employee income from each paycheck and sends it directly to the U.S. government on their behalf. The best way to be compliant in payroll is simple. Make sure you are using a comprehensive payroll software to help automate processes to ensure accuracy and compliance. Now, federal tax is one thing, but California has some of the most complex and employee protective payroll compliance laws in the United States. Beyond federal withholding tax, employers operating in California must navigate a wide array of state-specific regulations. Let's dive into it. First, we have California's wage and hour laws. Starting with minimum wage, California's statewide minimum wage is generally higher than the federal minimum wage. It's crucial to also be aware of local minimum wage ordinances, as many cities and counties in California have even higher rates. Cities such as Los Angeles, San Francisco, Berkeley, and many others. When it's stated that in California, employers must pay the highest applicable minimum wage, it means that employers need to compare and adhere to whichever minimum wage rate is highest among the various laws that might apply to their employees. Now, another important aspect to consider for California's minimum wage is industry-specific minimum wages. In some cases, California has also enacted minimum wage laws that apply to specific industries, regardless of the city or county. For example, fast food workers. As of April 1st, 2024, the minimum wage for certain fast food restaurant employees in California is $20 per hour. This rate applies statewide to qualifying fast food establishments. And on July 1st, 2025, there are new minimum wage scales for certain healthcare workers, which can range from $18 to $24 per hour, depending on the type of facility. It's important to consider these factors into your hiring and wage rate process when onboarding new employees. Overtime rules are exceptionally complex in California, extending beyond the typical 40-hour work week. This includes daily overtime, referred to as time and a half, and is 1.5 times the regular rate for over 8 hours in a workday, up to 12 hours, and double time, which is 2 times the regular rate of pay for over 12 hours in a workday, or over 8 hours on the 7th consecutive day of work. Additionally, and leading into our next topic, is time and attendance reporting. Time and attendance reporting is the process of tracking and managing the hours employees work, including their start and end times, breaks, meal periods, absences, and overtime. Think of it as a detailed log of when employees are on the clock and what they're doing during their workday. These rules are strict, mandating that employers give specific paid rest periods and unpaid meal periods. As an employer, not adhering to these workforce regulations can result in penalties for non-compliance. So it's important to have the proper systems in place for managing these requirements. Now that you have a basic understanding of California's payroll and wage compliance, let's take a few minutes to understand time and attendance and some of the key points every business owner should know. Navigating California's labor laws can feel like a full-time job in itself, especially when it comes to tracking employee breaks, meals, start times, end times, and PTO management. The rules are complex, the penalties can be steep, and staying compliant is absolutely critical for every business operating here. That's why we've put together this session, to break down the complexities and provide you with clear, actionable strategies. Let's start by setting the stage. Why is California so challenging when it comes to time and attendance? Simply put, California has some of the most stringent and employee protective labor laws in the nation. This includes very specific rules around accurate record keeping. It's not just about tracking hours, it's about how you track employees, the level of detail required, and how long you must retain those records. Meal and rest breaks, this is a huge one in California. The rules for providing, documenting, and ensuring employees take their meal and rest breaks are incredibly precise. Violations here are a common source of lawsuits. Another aspect to consider is reporting time pay. Did an employee show up for a scheduled shift but were sent home early? California has specific rules on how much they must be paid. And wage statements. Your pay stubs aren't just about showing net pay, they must include a list of detailed information, including total hours worked, all applicable rates, and pay period dates. And finally, employee off-the-clock work. This is a major liability area. Any work performed, no matter how brief, must be recorded and paid. Ignoring these regulations, even unintentionally, can lead to significant penalties, including back wages, statutory penalties, interest, and even class action lawsuits. The key is proactive compliance. Now, let's drill down into the core areas and discuss best practices for each, so that you, as a business owner, can be confident in running your business. Since payroll and time and attendance are so interconnected, it's important we discuss the best practices in California law to help you better understand what systems can help you ensure compliance. California Labor Code Section 1174 requires employers to keep accurate records, showing the total hours worked daily and weekly, the time the employee begins and ends each work period, and the time the employee begins and ends each meal period. Records must be maintained for at least 3 years. As a business owner, the best practice for adhering to time and attendance compliance laws is to implement a reliable, ideally automated timekeeping system that captures precise in and out times and meal and rest break periods. Avoid manual timesheets if possible, as they are prone to errors and difficult to audit, and ensure employees clock in and out for all work, including training, meetings, and travel time. Make sure your employees are not conducting off-the-clock work. Leveraging technology for compliance is a critical strategy for every successful business owner. Given the complexity, manual processes for time and attendance are simply too risky in California. This is where modern HR and payroll technology becomes indispensable. Having the right integrated systems can help ensure you are fully compliant. Think of it this way. Your time and attendance system isn't just about tracking hours. It's your first line of defense against costly wage and hour claims, and your payroll system is your guardian from a tax compliance and risk management perspective. Together, these systems provide some of the most comprehensive protection a business owner could need. Let's go over some of the key features these systems can provide. First, automated time capture. Employees can clock in and out via web, mobile app, or time clock with features like biometric scans or facial recognition. No more deciphering handwritten timesheets. Automated break tracking. Systems can prompt for breaks, enforce break rules, and flag missed or late breaks, immediately calculating any premium pay due as well as notifying managers when time cards need review. Accurate overtime calculation. The system automatically applies California's daily, weekly, and seventh-day overtime rules to ensure correct pay. compliant wage statements, generates detailed pay stubs that meet all California Labor Code Section 226 requirements. Data retention and audit trails securely stores all timekeeping data for the required 3 years, providing an indisputable audit trail. Simplified reporting easily generate custom reports for internal analysis, compliance checks, or to respond to audits. Automated tax reporting. Take the complexity and stress out of managing your tax obligations, ensuring accuracy and on-time submissions. And lastly, workforce integration. Seamlessly integrate time and attendance data directly into payroll, eliminating manual data entry and reducing errors. Keep in mind, there are many other softwares and tools that can be integrated, such as onboarding HR systems that can help you hire and keep accurate records of all your employees, and facilitate and store the required hiring documentation. All right, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the intricate landscape of California's time and attendance laws to the critical role technology plays in keeping your business compliant and your operations smooth. We've explored how a robust payroll system isn't just about paying employees, it's your guardian against costly errors and potential legal headaches, ensuring accuracy in wage calculations, tax withholdings, and those all-important wage statements. Remember, in California, proactive compliance isn't just a best practice, it's a necessity. Leveraging an integrated system significantly reduces your risk, frees up valuable time, and lets you focus on what you do best, growing your business. Since we have covered two of the most important topics regarding California's labor and workforce compliance, let's go over one last but equally as important aspect of California's stringent regulations: hiring and onboarding new employees. Now, let's move beyond the ongoing operational aspects of HR and turn our attention to the very beginning of the hiring journey: fairness and transparency and employee classification. In California, this phase is absolutely critical because it sets the foundation for your entire employment relationship. Getting it wrong here can create liabilities that follow you for years. California's laws aim to create a fair and transparent hiring process, while also ensuring that new employees are properly integrated and informed about their rights and responsibilities. Key compliance areas in hiring: non-discrimination. California's Fair Employment and Housing Act, which prohibits discrimination in all aspects of employment, including hiring, based on a broad list of protected characteristics. This list is even more extensive than federal law and includes things like gender identity, sexual orientation, marital status, military status, and even certain medical conditions or genetic information. Ensure your job descriptions are clear, accurate, and focus solely on the essential functions of the job. Train your hiring managers on unlawful inquiries during interviews. Avoid asking about protected characteristics and focus strictly on qualifications and experience. Now that we have covered some pre-hiring aspects, let's take a look at two specific but critical aspects that most businesses in California struggle with: independent contractor versus employee classification and employee onboarding compliance. Let's take a look. In California, correctly classifying workers as either independent contractors or employees is critical, as misclassification can lead to severe penalties under the state's strict ABC test. Employers must ensure that workers meet all three prongs of this test to be legitimately considered independent contractors, or they risk significant liabilities. This is one of the most significant and frequently litigated areas. California law, particularly AB 5 and the Dynamex decision, presumes workers are employees unless the hiring entity can prove all three prongs of the ABC test. Rule A: the worker is free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work, both under the contract for the performance of the work and, in fact, B: the worker performs work that is outside the usual course of the hiring entity's business. And finally, C: the worker is customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business of the same nature as that involved in the work performed. Now, Considering these three key areas of determination, it is important to carefully evaluate all independent contractor relationships against the ABC test. Misclassification can lead to severe penalties, including back wages, taxes, and fines. When in doubt, it's safer to classify as an employee. Knowing the difference between classifications is the first step in the journey to hiring and onboarding. Now, let's get into the specifics about what employers need to do when it's time to hire. Here we will discuss the essential onboarding compliance steps. Once you've made a compliant hire, the onboarding process is where you solidify that compliant relationship. In California, all employers must report newly hired or rehired employees and certain independent contractors to the California Employment Development Department, EDD, within 20 days of their start of work date. Integrate this into your onboarding checklist. Many payroll systems automate this reporting for you, which is a huge time saver and compliance safeguard. Beyond federal forms like the I-9 and W-4, California requires numerous specific forms and notices to be provided to new hires, such as California DE-4, wage and employment notices, paid sick leave, workers' compensation, unemployment insurance, state disability insurance, and paid family leave, sexual harassment prevention policy, as well as notice of employee privacy rights, California-specific meal and rest break policies and acknowledgments, and, if applicable, notices related to local ordinances, things like city-specific minimum wages and paid sick leave requirements. Thankfully, for those business owners who don't have the resources in-house to manage all these forms and notices, there are HCM systems that can help automate these processes so you can focus your efforts on growing your business. One of the best ways to stay compliant is to have a comprehensive onboarding system in place that includes all required federal, state, and local forms. This will ensure employees sign acknowledgments for each critical policy and notice. An onboarding system can maintain these records meticulously and streamline this process by pushing out required documents digitally and tracking acknowledgments. Automating your hiring and onboarding process with a comprehensive HR system can transform these complex compliance requirements into a streamlined, error-free experience, allowing you to focus on welcoming your new team members and setting them up for success. So, as we bring today's webinar to a close, I want to thank you all for investing your valuable time with us. We've navigated a significant portion of California's intricate workforce compliance landscape, from the daily nuances of time and attendance through the comprehensive demands of human resources, and right into the foundational requirements of hiring and onboarding. The overarching message should be clear. California's labor laws are complex, constantly evolving, and carry significant risks for non-compliance. However, with the right knowledge, proactive strategies, and crucially, the right technology partners, these challenges are entirely manageable. Remember, your payroll, HR, and time and attendance systems are not just administrative tools. They are your first line of defense against costly errors, penalties, and potential litigation. Leveraging integrated solutions allows you to automate critical tasks, ensure accuracy in wage calculations and tax filings, maintain compliant records, and streamline the entire employee lifecycle from hire to exit. This frees you up to focus on what truly drives your business forward, your people, and your growth. Thank you again for joining me. On behalf of the entire Earn HCM team, we wish you great success on your entrepreneurial journey. And remember, grow your business, not your paperwork.